Hello, folks. Hello, hello. Let's see. I am going to, before we get started officially here, I'm going to drop some links in the chat, specifically the links to the sheet music here. So we've got the Out on the Ocean tab that I've arranged, and then some a page with chords and strumming suggestions for the tune. So if I can find the correct tab here, I am going to drop those both into the chat. Let's see. Out on the Ocean chords. Hello, hello. And I guess it's just gonna be a mess there in the chat. So oh, because I've got too many characters. So we'll start off with the tab. There we go. Out on the Ocean tab. There are a lot of free PDFs over on tinyvillagemusic.com/free ukulele sheet music. If you just head over to tinyvillagemusic.com, it is in one of the drop-down menus. And here is the link for the chords. I'm just gonna drop that in there, and I want to give us just a minute or two to let anybody else who might be joining us have a chance to get in. We are going to be talking about this tune, Out on the Ocean. It's an Irish jig. We'll probably be talking about it for the better part of an hour. I'm going to try and end a little bit early so that there's time for questions if anybody has questions afterward. Yeah, that is going to be it. So this is kind of a new thing for me, doing these lives as opposed to a pre-recorded video on Fridays. Toward the beginning of the pandemic, I had started making ukulele tutorial videos for my students who basically, we weren't able to meet in person anymore, so I started doing weekly videos, which I've been absolutely loving. It's been a great way for me to stay connected with students back in New Hampshire and across the country. But I am now in Prince Edward Island, up in Canada. So I am going back to school. Naturally, that is going to impact my schedule, and I figured doing these lives was a good way of still staying in touch with everybody, with all of my ukulele friends, but I'm not going to have to spend hours editing the video. So you get to interact with me. I don't have to edit. You get to see me make all of my mistakes, and hopefully we can learn together as we look at these songs. So I would love your thoughts as you're watching this, either watching this live, or if you are watching this later. All of these will be available for viewing after the fact. So I am open to suggestions and feedback, and as always, if there's a particular song that you'd like me to take a look at, shoot me an email at tinyvillagemusic@gmail.com, and I can see if I can make that happen. All right, so before we go any farther, why don't we just well, no, let's go farther. Let's dive into the tune. I'm gonna try out this little transition button that I have here and see how well this works. Oh, fancy. Okay, cool. So this is the tablature. You'll notice that there is both tablature and standard notation for Out on the Ocean. And we're looking at it here in my Guitar Pro software, which is where I create most of my ukulele sheet music. I also use MuseScore. So if you happen to have any questions about any kind of notation software, I'm happy to chat about that as well. I use Finale as well a little bit. I think my Jamie is my wife. If you don't know, Jamie is my wife, and she is a little bit more fluent in Finale than I am. She's done a bit more work, whereas I've kind of done the Guitar Pro and MuseScore routes. But here is the tablature. So again, I have standard notation and tablature running simultaneously here. So we can read the standard notation across the top, or we can read the tablature just below. It's both expressing the same exact things. The tablature has the benefit of telling us exactly what string to play each of these notes on. And that is kind of an important part of how we're going to be looking at this song today, because we are playing, I have this song arranged for a re-entrant tuned ukulele, also known as the high G ukulele. So I'm going to switch back to me for just a moment. So I can show you, this is the ukulele that I'm working with today. So this is just a little Kala, KA15S, the little Kala soprano ukulele, and it's got all sorts of buzzes and quirks going on, and the intonation is a little bit weird up top, so I apologize for some of that, but it will serve its purpose today. But I have this high G, like so. Now the reason I specifically bring this up is because we're going to be utilizing that open G a lot in this arrangement when we're playing the melody. But I can also play that same exact note, that same note. If I'm perfectly in tune, my open G string should sound exactly like the 3rd fret of my E string. So when I'm playing this piece on a low G instrument, let me switch back here. Anytime that I see one of those open G notes on the open G string there, I would instead play it on the 3rd fret of the E string, like we see right here. Now I really like playing melodies on a high G ukulele because we can get some blending of our notes. There's going to be some overlap in the melody. Let me play a little bit of the beginning for you so you can kind of get a sense of what that sounds like. And I'm going to switch back to me so you can see what my hands are doing. Again, you can download those PDFs for free over on tinyvillagemusic.com/free ukulele sheet music. And I'll check the chat in a little bit in the event that we've got new folks coming in and the links are not appearing. So here we go, just a little bit of the beginning of Out on the Ocean. So, you might have heard, I know I've got some fans going, I'm still working out the audio situation here, but you can probably hear a bit of that resonance as I'm playing melody notes, and they're kind of blending in with each other. I'm allowing those melody notes to ring out as I'm playing through. And it creates this kind of rich atmospheric sound that I'm really, really fond of. It's a technique that is you can get on a low G instrument, but it's not quite the same. It's one of the things that's really special about these kind of traditional sounding ukuleles. All right, so I just played through what we refer to as the A section. Our jig has 2 sections here. We have an A section, which I just played, and then a B section. So 2 different parts that repeat. Also, I want to mention that we're in 6/8 time. There are a couple different ways to count and feel this. It's called compound time because it's like we can count in groups of 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we can further divide those 2 counts into groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Almost like two groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one of the things that helps give us that lilting feel of a jig. played to that first ending there. I just want to walk through what each of these notes are doing. And I'm going to try and balance getting my screen aligned over here so I can see both what I'm doing and what you are playing. Let's see. I will have this. I will get this. I will figure this out. There must be a way that doesn't require me to buy another monitor. Okay. So, I am starting off on the 2nd fret of the A string. Go to the open A, open G. So that's my first measure right there. Now for my right hand, I am using my index finger plucking the A string, and then I use my thumb to pluck that open G. Now when I'm playing multiple notes on the same string, I might also want to alternate fingers. So instead of just using my index finger to pluck that string, I can use 2 fingers to kind of walk across that string. Like so. I'm going to do the same thing here in the 2nd measure, where I'm playing 2nd fret, 5th, 2nd fret, open, 2nd, open, all on that A string. So I'm definitely going to utilize my 2 fingers there. Measure 3. I really like the way that this feels to play. So I'm plucking that open G string in measure 3 with my thumb, and then I'm going to kind of drag my pointer finger across my E string, 2nd fret of the C, and then the open G again. It's a really nice feel. I could keep my thumb playing that open G if I wanted to and just drag my index finger across the open E and C strings and then play the G with my thumb. But I just really like the feel. Oh, there's that open A at the end there. It's similar to what we did at the beginning. And then I'm playing this next passage all on the A string again. That's the 2nd fret of the A to the 5th, 2nd, open, 2nd, open. And then I have another one of those passages. Measure 7 is the same as measure 3. And then measure 8, that first ending, playing 2nd fret of the A, open G, 2nd fret of the E. And in this case, I have it written out playing the 3rd fret of the E string to finish off that, that melody there. And then we have a pickup note, an open E that's going to take us back when we repeat, right back to measure 1 on the 2nd fret of the A string. I want to switch over to the tablature for a moment here now. Let's see. I'm going to switch over to the tablature so we can see the notes on the page that I was playing there. So we can take a closer look at particularly this 8th measure right here. So in measure 8, I am playing the 3rd fret of the E string to get that G note, but in measure 9, in the 2nd ending, I'm using the open G string to get that same exact sound. So I'm going to play measure 8, and then I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to play measure 9. And I'm just going to play the first 4 notes of the measure, so I'm not going to play the pickup note here or these 2 pickup notes that are going to lead us into measure 10. Just so you can hear the difference between playing the 3rd fret of the G string there, 3rd fret of the E string, G note, or the open G string here. So measure 8. Okay, and then measure 9. I'm going to play measure 8 again. Here's what it sounds like with the open G in measure 9. Again, I really like the way that it sounds over here in measure 9. I wrote out both ways, partly as an example to show you that it can be, you can alternate those two ways of playing that same exact note. You'll notice in the standard notation up top, it is the same note. This note right here on that second line up from the bottom, and likewise over here, second line up from the bottom, is that same note. So we can write it either way in tablature, but it'll be the same note on the staff on the tab over there. I'm going to pause for just a moment and check out the chat here. And okay, so I am going to jump right into the B section now. So we're going to take a look at the B section. I'm going to switch back to me so you can see what I am doing with my hands on this B section. I'm going to try and angle the camera down a little bit more so that we're getting more ukulele, and hopefully we can see a little bit better what I'm doing. I really like having printouts of the music. So I can make notes as I am working through one of these pieces. I can make notes to myself if I want to play something a little bit differently than is written on the page, or little reminders to myself. When I play through this play to the first ending, or when I get to the repeat and I play through the second ending, sometimes I might need a little extra reminder that I'm supposed to skip over this first ending there. So sometimes I'll draw in a little note to myself to remind myself, oh, you gotta jump over there. Don't forget when you're in round 2 to jump over there. I can make any other notes that might help me out in terms of how I might want to be approaching all of this stuff. Okay, so we are in. I'm going to play measure 9 and carry into measure 10. So I'm going to be starting on that second ending that we were just looking at. Again, measure 9. And that's going to lead us into measure 10. Now, measure 10 has us playing up on the higher frets. So we're going up to 7th fret, and we're going to be going all the way up to the 10th fret for this section right here. So I'm going to play measure 9 slowly into measure 10 and play through that B section, that second section, so you can get a sense of what that's all going to sound like. Play that through again. So we are playing up on these higher frets, so we're finding some new places to play some of these notes, and also I am utilizing my open strings, particularly my open A and my open G strings, to help me get around, so I don't have to be jumping down and then jumping back up to play all these notes. You'll notice that I was playing some open strings while my hand was up here hanging around the 7th fret. And that allowed me to play those notes. We might normally see them, or even down here. But because I know that I've got to jump up to these high notes, I wanted to find a way to get my hand in a position where I didn't have to jump down to play those notes. Again, I don't want to play the 3rd fret of the E string if I'm just going to have to jump all the way up here, right? So let me walk through, starting on measure 10. I ended with my pinky finger. I ended measure 9 with my pinky finger on the 5th fret of the A string, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide that finger up to the 7th fret. Now I'm still kind of working my way into the position that I want. I'm still having to shift my fingers a little bit to get where I want to go. So I use my pinky finger on the 7th fret for those first 3 notes. But then I shifted my pointer finger to the 5th fret of the A. And then ring finger to the 7th fret of the E string. That. And then when I move to measure 11, I'm going to slide my pointer finger up to the 7th fret to play the notes now in this position with my pointer finger kind of based on the 7th fret of my neck. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go back all the way back to measure 9. I played up to the first note of measure 12 there. I'm going to do that again. Measure 9. Okay. So I'm working my way into the position that I want. So I'm finding ways to shift my hand so that I can comfortably get to all those notes that I want. Once I'm around here, I've kind of got this little scale pattern that I can be playing. So that is the, if I'm looking, I'm using measure 13 now as an example for these notes, this kind of little position where our fingers are going to sit. 10th fret of the A string, then 9th fret and 7th fret, and then on the E string, 10th fret and 7th fret. Like so. All right, but I skipped ahead a little bit to make that point. So let's go back. I'm going to play measure 10, measure 11. Okay, here's measure 12, 10th fret of that E string, 7th of the A, 9th of the A. Now we're on measure 13, where I'm going to just reverse that pattern. 10th fret of the A, 9th fret, 7th, 10th of the E, 7th of the E, and then I end with that open A. It's the end of measure 13 there. Now again, notice how my hand is staying right where it is, even though I'm playing open strings. Got my open G now. Open A, this is measure 14, so it starts with the open G, followed by an open A, 7th fret of the E string, where my hand is already waiting, 10th fret of the E, and then I go back to the A string in measure 15, 7th fret, to the 10th fret, back to 7th, and then now I'm shifting to the E string, 10th fret, 7th fret, and that open A again. And now at this point, between measures 15 and 16, I've got these open strings to kind of give my hand a chance to jump back down to this position here. My pointer finger is moving to the 2nd fret of the C string for measure 16 and measure 17, like so. Okay. So I'm going to play through from measure 10, and I'm going to pause at a couple places where my hand is going to be shifting, or point out where my hand is specifically not shifting. So measure 10. Okay, measure 14. Again, my hand didn't move. Now I'm shifting down, measure 16. takes a little while to kind of get accustomed to that. Those movements in my position are great things to make note of in your music. We can program some of those into the score, but I find it's really helpful for me when I'm learning a piece to write those little movements in a way that's going to be helpful to me when I'm playing. Okay, so let's see here. I am going to pull. Oh, before I talk about some of these other bits, I want to point out the repeat in the B section. So the section that starts on measure 10. At the end, so we were at measure 17, and then I have that repeat symbol that's taking me back to the beginning of measure 10. The only thing that I do differently on that repeat is I don't usually use my pinky finger to play the 7th fret at the beginning there. I usually use my ring finger. It's a little bit more comfortable for me doing that. It makes a little bit more sense. It's less of a shift transition that I have to do with my fingers to get that. When I'm going from measure 9 into measure 10, I'm coming from down here and I have to jump up. When I'm going from measure 17 back to measure 10, I've got an open string, so I don't have to play any games with what fingers that I use. So I can just start with the finger that's going to be most comfortable, that will set me up the best for success moving into that section of the piece. All right, so with that, I'm going to play through the whole thing. So I'll play through the A section twice, playing the second ending on the repeat, and then I'll move through the B section twice. So if you have the music in front of you, follow along. Otherwise, you can watch my hands and my fingers and see how it looks and sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, we could repeat all of that as many times as we'd like. It sounds lovely slow. It sounds lovely when we speed it up. But if you're starting this piece fresh, or this style of music fresh, it's good to keep it slow, and this one sounds really nice as such. With that, I want to take a look at the chords and strum. Oh no, I forgot a thing. I want to talk really briefly about a technique called hammer-on and a technique called the pull-off. They're kind of, they usually kind of go together, and they are kind of what they sound like. So hammer-on is when I play a note. It could be an open note, or it could be a fretted note. It could be anything. And I pluck the string once, and I use one of my other fretting fingers to produce the next note on another fret. So I hammer on, I hammer on. I only strike the string once, but I'm producing 2 notes or more. could go from an open string to a fretted note. So that is called a hammer-on. Again, I'm plucking the string once, and the next note that I play is produced by me kind of slamming my finger onto the appropriate fret. I have to make sure that I am fast and firm with that hit, because if I go too slow, I'm just going to mute the string and not allow it to produce that next note. A hammer-on is kind of the opposite. I'm starting on a note and I am releasing my finger, but I'm not just releasing it, I'm kind of dragging my finger off of it. Gently, I don't want to yank on it and tug and get a nasty sound like that. Sometimes I might want to get a nasty sound, but right now, for a song like this, I'm kind of just gently rolling my finger off, so I'm plucking that string a second time. And I utilize that technique a lot in this song. Right in the first measure, that first open string, second fret of the A string to the open A string, is a pull-off, at least when I'm playing it. In the second measure, I could do that entire thing, pull-offs. If I've got enough sustain, if I was playing my electric ukulele, I could definitely, or if I'm playing fast, I can do that whole passage with just hammer-ons and pull-offs, that entire measure. But I can do both hammer-on and pull-off, so I'm hammering onto the 5th fret, I pull off back to the 2nd fret. I'm leaving my index finger held down on that 2nd fret. It's going to give a nice sound, a good feel for this song using those kinds of techniques. It is not necessary. I could pluck each individual note. Played that a little more stiffly than I meant to, but I was trying not to go into those articulations, those little pull-offs, force of habit. But find places where that might kind of help you. We can indicate a hammer-on or pull-off in our music. I can add something like that in there. So if I wanted to tell you definitively that I want that to be played as a hammer-on or pull-off, I have, let's see, oh, there's a pull-off. There we go, yeah. So it'll look like this when you see it in tablature. There'll be a little line connecting our strings with a little P over it, indicating pull-off. And if we see it in standard notation, it'll be the same thing. Those two notes will be connected by a line, and there's usually some indication that it is a pull-off, as opposed to like a legato or a slide or something like that. Here, same deal. We could do a hammer-on here. Whoops. No, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. Wrong button. There we go. There's my hammer-on. So I've hammered on there, and I could say that I want this to be a... Whoop, no. No, hammer on and pull off. What does that look like? There we go. So when I have a hammer on and pull off back to back like this, I have my line kind of arcing over the group of notes that I'm playing. So 2nd fret, hammer on to 5th fret, pull back off to the 2nd fret. So this is how it would look when we see it in print, like so. Okay, so it might look something like that. It does get very busy having all of this extra notation built into the music. It's kind of, interfering with the spacing over here. There may be ways that I can adjust that in this particular software, but I haven't really kind of gotten that far in terms of manipulating that kind of articulation. That is one thing that is great in both Finale and in MuseScore. They are both really good at kind of maneuvering all of the symbols and making it as easy as possible to read. But again, that's why I like having a printout of this page, or if you have a tablet that you can make notes in and draw little notes to yourself, that can also be really, really helpful. Again, making those notations in a way that's going to help you best read the music. We don't have to read music in the traditional fashion in order to play our music. If playing standard notation, or reading standard notation rather, is kind of a scary thought, we don't necessarily have to use that in order to convey information. As long as you understand, and anybody that you're playing with, we can communicate with each other, then we're going to be in good shape. Okay, so that is the melody to Out on the Ocean, and I'm going to switch us back here as I dig out the chords. So if you are watching this in the future and you're like, hey, I wanna know a little bit more, or you kind of breezed past this little thing, or I want to hear more about Hammer On and Pull Off, feel free to email me at tinyvillagemusic@gmail.com. I'm happy to address those either in an email or in next week's live video. So now, with the time that we have left, I'd like to take a look at the chords to this song. If you are looking at the PDF right now, you will probably see that it is in the key of G. And we've got a few chords in here. We've got a G, D, a C6 chord. Nice and easy. Love when C6 shows up. We've also got an E minor and a B minor, as well as a regular C. Now, in that PDF, Out on the Ocean Strumming Suggestions, I have just that, some suggestions on how we might strum those chords in this song with this time signature, and with this song in particular. So let me see if I can share that particular screen with you. Let's see. So I want Out on the Ocean. There we go. Okay. It's kind of weird looking. You'll see in just a second how this is kind of sitting in the screen there. There we go. All right. There we go. You can also see some of the other pieces that I've been working on recently, like Jigglypuff song, and then the Crazy Train riffs from back from the YouTube short, the Wednesday Licks. That's the word that I'm looking for, the Wednesday Licks. But here we have Out on the Ocean. And as you can see, this is just hand-drawn, spelling out a particular rhythm that will work pretty well with this song. So I've got the A section and the B section. We'll start off with the A section. I'm playing G in the standard voicing. So again, in 6/8 time, we can be playing in two groups of three, or a 2 count. So I could keep it very simple. If I wasn't ready for some of these other rhythms, I could just strum 2 even strums for each measure. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to play a very simple pattern. So I am just going to be strumming the G twice for this measure, and then I'll strum G once and D once, G, 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 C6. And you'll kind of get that feel. So I'm just doing 2 strums per measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. G, 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 D, G, 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 C6, G, 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 D, G, G, D, G. Okay. So that is perfectly reasonable, and the same thing could apply to our B section. Just strumming our 2 beats, just 2 strums per measure, and if it's the same chord, we just strum that same chord twice. B, C, D, G, C, D, G, D, G, like so. Okay, but what I want to focus in on here is this particular rhythm. So we've got down. Well, I'm not even going to talk about the down ups just yet. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Whoops. I'm going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is what I have expressed in the PDF right here. I'm going to switch back to me. And I want to show you just a couple different ways that we could achieve that pattern. So I'm just going to hold my G chord for right now so we can talk through some of these rhythms. So I could do all downstrokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. I'm sorry, I said I was going to stay on G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of a lot of work for our wrist, though. Just kind of. It's not bad if we're playing slowly, but as the tempos pick up, that can be really tiring on our wrist. So we usually alternate with down and up strokes, right? So I could do down, up, down, like that. But then kind of gets awkward because the beats don't line, it doesn't line up. It's not an even number, so like our down and up is different each time. So then the second time we get to the pattern, I'm going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now we could do that if we wanted to, but that gets a little bit confusing. This is where the triple strum comes in and helps us out a lot. There are a number of different ways that we can do the triple strum. Here's how I'm going to show you how to do it. And it's just a different way of playing a group of 3 notes or 3 strums together in kind of one motion. Okay, so I'm going to do a downstroke with my index finger, a downstroke with my thumb, and then I come back up with my index finger. And that allows me to start fresh with a downstroke on my next section, right? A little bit of time to get that nice and smooth. So you'll want to spend a little bit of time practicing that. A downstroke with the index, thumb, up with the index. Down, thumb, index, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. This might be a little awkward at first getting that down, but it can be a really, really helpful pattern to know how to do. It sounds really cool when we're playing in flourishes, or it can work really well just to kind of keep track of your down and up strokes in a pattern like this in 6/8 time when we're doing lots of groups of 3 strums. I want to jump over to the B section and talk about these chords here. E minor, we would traditionally play it like so. I have the diagrams written at the bottom of that PDF. I've got my 2nd fret of the A string, 3rd fret of the E string, 4th fret of the C string with an open G. But the next chord that I'm going to is a B minor chord, and that's a bar chord, and I have to shift my fingers a bit to get that. Now, especially if you are less familiar with bar chords or less practiced with bar chords, that can be a tough jump. I don't even like making that jump from... I can do it, but it doesn't feel right to me. So what I tend to do with that E minor, instead of letting the G string be open, I will actually fret that E string. I will bar the 2nd fret of my all of my strings with my pointer finger, and then I add in the 3rd fret of the E string with my middle finger, 4th fret of the C with my pinky, and 4th fret of the G string with my ring finger. Now, I do that, even though it might seem like a little extra work to play that E minor chord there. When I switch to the B minor, I can leave my pointer finger and my ring finger right where they are. I lift up my middle and pinky, and I have that B minor chord there. Which is also great because then the next move that I go is to a C chord. I can use my middle finger, which is currently free, hanging over that 3rd fret to play that C chord when it shows up. Now, normally I would play my D chord like this, or like this, but in this case, I've got that C chord like this. I know the next chord that I need to play is a D chord, and my fingers are kind of already sitting in a really nice position to play this version of the D chord, where I've got my pointer finger once again barred across the 2nd fret of all my strings, my pinky finger on the 5th fret of the A string. I'm going to play those first 4 measures of the B section together like that. B minor, C, D, and then I can go back to my G. There's a lot of room for experimentation here. You'll notice that I also threw in a couple of alternate chords that we could try, these substitutions for these different chords. So instead of playing a G or an E minor, so either one of those chords, I could play a E minor 7, which is the same chord as a G6 chord. Open G, 2nd fret of C, open E, 2nd fret of A. So that's a great substitution. If you're looking for a slightly different texture to the sound of the song, or if you're having trouble switching between some of these chords, that can be a really great option. Same with the D6 chord. It can that D6 chord, we're just barring all of our strings on the 2nd fret. It's like the C6 chord, but on the 2nd fret of all of your strings. Now that can be substituted for a D chord, just a regular old D, Or it can be a substitute for your B minor chord. This is a B minor 7 chord. So I'm going to play the B section with the E minor 7 and the B minor 7 instead of a regular E minor and B minor, just so you can hear what that sounds like. It's going to be very close. One more time. E minor 7 to B minor 7. Oops, I did a regular B. Sorry about that. Okay, once again, back to the top. Beginning of the B, E minor 7. Here we go. Okay, so it sounds really neat. We could say that it's a little bit easier to play. I would argue that it could just present some different challenges. You know, getting a bar chord, still switching your fingers is going to require a little bit of effort. I encourage you to try out different ways of playing it, both the way with just our standard chords as written in the little chart here, and trying out some of those chord substitutes and seeing what sound and feeling on your hands you like best. These are just a couple of options for substitutions. There are many, many other substitutions that we could throw around. I believe I have a video already on YouTube about playing with chord substitutions, and I am sure that I will be covering that topic again. So if that sounds interesting to you, let me know. Once again, tinyvillagemusic@gmail.com. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap things up here. I think YouTube is going to tell me to end very shortly anyway. Once again, let me know if you have any questions. tinyvillagemusic@gmail.com. Let me know if there's anything else that I can be doing in this format to help you out better. If there's a particular way that you learn best, I would love to hear about it and help make the best possible videos for you. So hit up tinyvillagemusic.com for free sheet music, as well as other goodies, private lessons, all that good stuff. Sign up for my mailing list. It is once again over on tinyvillagemusic.com. Actually, on the free sheet music page, I believe there's a link to the mailing list, and I just send out once a week a little email blast that will tell you what videos are up for this week and any PDFs that you might need for that. So I think that'll do it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hi, Mom. And I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much. Take care.